Hey everybody. Interesting news article from The Telegraph in the UK. Title: JP Morgan revealed as mystery trader that bought 1 billion worth of copper on the London Metals Exchange. The American investment bank JP Morgan is the mysterious mystery trader that grabbed more than half the copper on the London Metal Exchange, the Daily Telegraph has learned. The 1.5 billion, which would be US dollars, trade was described in the LME's daily update as between 50% and 80% of the 350,000 tons in reserves. This pushed up the price for the immediate delivery of copper to $8,700, its highest level since the financial crisis of 2008. A high premium on the spot copper price normally reflects fear of a shortage of the metal, which is in hot demand across the world as a vital component in a mass of products from electrical gadgets to wiring. A source close to the situation said that JP Morgan had bought the copper contracts, added that amount is closer to the lower portion of the range. In other words, probably 50%, not 80% of the entire physical amount of copper. Traders said JP Morgan's name has been circulating in the market all day as the most likely buyer, especially since it is about to launch a physically backed exchange traded fund, ETF. Physically backed. In other words, they used to be backed by nothing besides paper transferring from one person to another. Now we really, truly, physically have some copper to mess with, or to have to back these contracts. Kind of like the gold ETF or the silver ETF, which is SLV. That's probably the next best thing than actually having physical silver in your hand, would be that ETF of silver, or SLV. Of course, I want silver in my hand. I'm not playing around. I'm not going to have some company that promises me they have it in warehouses and it's audited all the time. Well, that's fine and all. And then when you need it, there's a robbery, there's a break-in. Or we miscalculated. Maybe. All I know is I want it in my hands, not, on a piece of paper that says I own it, and this guy over here has a warehouse that has it, and with an ETF, you never get to demand physical delivery. So even though if you have 1,500 shares, it's no different really than saying I have 1,500 ounces of silver. So, or in this case with JP Morgan copper. And the only difference is you can never say, hey, give me the 1,500 ounces of silver or copper or whatever. You just basically are always going to be paid in money. When you say, okay, I want to cash out, you're going to get paid in money. So of course you're going to get the hell tax out of you regardless, but it doesn't matter. It's the next best thing. If you have a 401k or some other type of IRA or annuity or something, and you just don't trust the stock market, find out if they have access to put your funds into a like the SLV, the ETF SLV for silver, and that would probably be a good one. So here we're seeing JP Morgan is now physically. Remember when they said when they were closing down their metals trading group, which I think was only 10 people, but that's when all that manipulation was coming out, and they got busted, and they said, okay, we're going to close down that part now. And right after that, they said, we're actually going to open up basically like bullion vaults or storage facilities for other people and companies that want us to store their bullion, silver, gold, whatever metals. So this is probably the second step of that process. They have now physically purchased copper, even though they're not holding it for other people. This is for themselves. So they're going to make an ETF out of this. And I'm sure, like with the SLV ETF, if they say that they've got, 300 million ounces of silver or something like that in the ETF, that's what they've got. You'll also find out that they have approximately that same number of shares out there of 300 million or so. I think when I looked, it was just barely off, like maybe 3 or 4%. So in other words, if it was like, 300 million ounces of silver that the ETF had in storage, they actually had out just slightly more than that in actual physical or actual paper ETFs or whatever, which is not bad. I mean, that's nothing. The problem is when you have 100 of these things out there and only one thing of real silver, which is what the futures and options futures contracts are all about. Nothing but a piece of paper that says, in theory, you own some kind of contract. And I guess people are now starting to demand delivery. From what I'm gathering, we had silver eagles, American silver eagles, 1 ounce coins, that this year has broken the all-time record of selling those eagles. They've produced, I think it was 4.6 million silver eagles have sold this year, and we still have the rest of December to go from what I read. I think that number is right, 4.6 million, somewhere around there. I'm just going off my memory from like 5 days ago. That's a good sign for people like us who want silver. It broke through $30 today, easily. Gold was up to like $14.25 or $14.28, I think. But blasted through 1400. And I know I've said this before. I've made multiple videos. If you don't have silver, you better hurry, because the clock is ticking and time is running out. I sent my sister another email today. Listen, I know I've sent you the emails in the past. I said, and by the way, all the emails that I've sent you, just over the last year and a half, the price of silver, well, actually, let's say 2 years, because I've been emailing her since 2008. But basically, the price range of silver, and all the times I've sent out emails for people to buy, in my family and friends, it was at, when silver was in 2009, at one point for a short period of time, it was $10 an ounce. It actually hit down to like $9.60, maybe $9.50, I don't remember. And then it went like straight up to $10 before I could even call my friend on the phone and say, hey, I'm fixing to buy some, you want some? And it was at 10, and we bought silver eagles, and the premium was $2.25. So basically, we paid $12.25 for silver eagles back in early 2009 when this happened. And you go to eBay or a coin dealer right now, even ask them what they want for a silver eagle right now today. You're going to be looking at minimum $33 to potentially $35, $36 each. Again, I paid $12. So you're talking basically 300% increase of profit. If you're looking at that as a stock, and I told you, oh hey, if you would have waited a year and a half or so, I know something that's going to go up 300% in that time period. Wow, 300? I'm used to hearing 20% or something's really good. Yeah, that's true. But how does 300% sound? So that's basically what it's done. Another interesting thing is that this is a WebBot hit also, by the way, and they said you're going to start seeing, again, get ready for $5 a day moves in the silver market. That doesn't mean $5 up one day, $5 up the next day, $5 up. It could be $5 up and $5 back down. Do not play futures or options contracts. You're going to get burned, especially with those kind of moves. You're going to get cleaned out. Buy physical silver. Don't play that game of paper. So you're going to start seeing $5 a day moves. We had like $1 today move practically. We've had more than that in the last few weeks. It's moved more than $1 in a day at one particular time or another. So that's going to turn into $5 a day moves sooner or later here, and it's going to be quite soon, I'm sure. And the WebBot had said that, of course. And when that happens, it's good night economy, good night dollar, good night everything else, pretty much. And the other thing was that, of course they said you're going to see $600 silver, eventually, soon, a year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. They didn't say specifically either. Does it really matter? No. Hang on to your silver and wait. And the other thing was that they said the ratio of silver to gold, which has been around for thousands of years, since gold and silver has been money, is usually around 16 to 1 to 20 to 1. Somewhere around there. 20 ounces of silver buys 1 ounce of gold. Sometimes it was 16 ounces, right around there. 16 ounces of silver buys 1 ounce of gold. They said you are going to start seeing, and at the time, I think the current ratio at the time was 65 to 1. And I'm talking, recent times, months ago, whatever. And basically, it took about 65 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. So, and I'm talking again recently, and months. Well, I looked today, and I think it was 54 or 57. Might have been 54. Kitco.com, and then you click on show precious metals, all metals, and then at the very bottom it gives you the ratio of all the metals. I think it was 54. So 54 to 1. It was 65 to 1. It's coming down, which is good, because that means silver is outperforming gold. And if you had $10,000 to invest in gold and $10,000 to invest in silver, your silver investment would be spanking your gold investment. So, not that that really matters, but the webbot did say you're going to see this ratio, which is, historically speaking, you know, gold's up here, silver's right down here. You know, 16 ounces of silver, 20 ounces of silver buys 1 ounce of gold. And that has now become this, you know, 65 ounces of silver, finally, you know, big stack of silver to catch up to the 1 gold coin. And now it's at 54. You're going to see 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 30, etc., 20. It's going back to where it belongs. It always does throughout history. It's going to go down to where it belongs, which is around 16 to 1, 20 to 1. If that were to happen today, you'd be looking at silver at approximately $90, $95, maybe even $100. You know, because in reality, I mean, let's face it. If gold's $14.25, you're going to spend $1,500 for that 1 gold coin, because ain't no one going to sell it to you at spot price. You're going to pay $50, $7,500 usually, at least right now, $75 to get that gold coin. So even though the market says, oh, it's $14.25, no, you want it, you're paying about $1,500. So with that being said, and if silver was $100, that would be a 15 to 1 ratio. So it's going to get there. Now, and again, that's not even including the crashing of the U.S. dollar, them devaluing it, the Fed printing more money, none of that stuff. That doesn't even count. So once that starts to take effect, which I mean it already is slightly, anyways, it's gonna snowball downhill. So then they're gonna keep printing and keep printing and keep printing. They're gonna keep continuing unemployment. They're gonna keep continuing all these things. You think they want people in America to revolt? So, that's like Lindsey Williams said. That's the last thing they want. They do not want the American people waking up, getting in the streets, riling other people up. They don't want that. Give them their unemployment. Give them their little, you know, food stamps, and let's just go on with our deals, the elite, anyway, you know, the elite deals. So they don't want that. So in other words, they're gonna continue printing. And as I just read today, and it might have even been yesterday too, the Federal Reserve has now scratched its head and said, you know, we might actually, we're thinking about buying more treasury bonds with more basically printed money. So that $600 billion figure we gave you just recently, we're going to probably definitely extend over that and purchase more so that we can put unemployment at bay, because it's now back up to 9.8% unemployment. We need to rein that in. So somehow printing money is going to rein that in. I don't think so. What that's going to do is keep people who are on unemployment, keep giving them money for one thing, while it's being devalued for the rest of us and them too. And those of us with silver are really going to smile and say, good, I can't wait. Because if you had 500 ounces of silver and it goes to the easily reachable, according to the webbot, and now other experts are saying it's going to 500. Webbot said 600, so let's just say 500. And you have 500 ounces, well, that's $250,000 in your pocket. Now imagine if you were one of Dr. Doom's friends and family back when silver was $10 an ounce just a year and a half ago. I mean, that's all it was. And I emailed you, hey, buy silver, buy silver. It's $10. You're never going to see it this low. You're never, ever, ever going to see it this low. I sent emails to my wife's mother, everybody I knew, everybody. Let's see, who listened? My friend Frank at work, myself, of course, and that was it. We bought Silver Eagles. We actually were going to buy regular coins, just some 1 ounce rounds, so we didn't have to pay the premium for the Eagles. But they didn't have anything else. They only had the Eagles. So we said, oh, well, no problem, whatever, we'll take them. So we got the Eagles. Now, I've already advised people always get the Eagles anyways now, simply because, like I said, I paid $2.25 when it was $10 for that that premium. So I paid $12.25.